loss to Concordia, the same two teams as last night, doing battle again. The Ole's still in a tie for fifth, but now it is a three-way tie as things continue to be very tight in the MIAC. Hello again, everybody. Josh Powers alongside our crew. And a tough one last night for the Ole's, who led most of the way. Cobbers tie it up in the at the end of the second period and then win it in the overtime, the 8th overtime game out of 16 so far for St. Olaf. 3 more points, though, on the line here this afternoon. And it'll be interesting to see how it all develops starting in about 15 minutes from now. A few minutes ago, I had a chance to catch up with the St. Olaf head coach in his first year, Tyler Lindstrom.
All right, we're with Tyler Lindstrom. Tyler, another close one last night. It goes into overtime. They get the extra point. How would you assess last night's contest?
I think it was a microcosm of our second half so far. I think we're playing well enough to be in games. We're not playing well enough to win games. And that's a lot of, we met this morning, and that's where we're at as a team. The second half, it's been a struggle to say the least. I think first and foremost, I got a lot of faith in our room. I got a lot of faith in the players and people that we have. But it's also very important to note that we're not where we should be right now, and we'll get it fixed.
It's good to have those high expectations. It's also tough when you've got 2 of your top 3 scorers not playing, Adam and Nick. Obviously, everyone deals with, the nicks and bruises at this time of year, but to have 2 key guys not available, I know it's not the only reason for the overtime loss last night, but it doesn't help either.
Yeah, everyone's got it. It's tough when it happens to you, but Adam and Nick, from a production standpoint, they're both awesome for us, but also from a habit system-based kind of approach. Both of those guys are responsible guys who play down the middle for us. So losing those 2 guys, it's tough. It puts, it's crazy to say both of them are sophomores, but it puts our younger guys in more important roles, and we're working through that right now, and a lot of guys are getting valuable reps.
I think one combination that I thought worked well last night, and I see they're paired again, the Panisa, Hayes, and Willie Johnson line, they looked pretty dangerous last night, and obviously you need more of that tonight.
Yeah, I think all 3 of those guys play at pace tremendously. And again, I think that line was a microcosm of our entire game last night. They created offensively in the hard areas at times, and at times became unengaged in, our habits and our systems. When they're at their best, they're awesome for us. They're dynamic. They got a ton of pace, a ton of skill. But our entire team as a unit needs to get back to the habits and systems that made our first half really, really successful.
I thought Ryan Nolan had another outstanding game last night. Obviously, you're going with Matt because he's also had a tremendous season, so it's a good problem to have, but it's just so critical. It's one of the reasons why you're number 1 in the MIAC and fewest goals allowed is you've gotten great goaltending from numerous guys.
Yeah, and it's a luxury to have as a coach, right? Having one guy you can trust back there is awesome. Having 2 is even better. And I've met with those guys quite a bit over the course of the season, and I think for me, I trust both those guys wholeheartedly to win us hockey games, and they've both proven that. So Ryan as a first year, Matt as a sophomore, guys early in their career who are establishing themselves as game winners is something I'm super fortunate to have.
And another game last night goes to overtime, 8 out of the 16 games. It's just kind of crazy. But you look around the MIAC, and it seems like almost every game is OT or 1 goal, or somebody gets a late empty netter. You look at the standings, and it's super compact. It is just crazy. I know we talk about it every year, but it seems like it's even heightened this year how close it is each and every game.
Yeah, and for us, it goes back to being in all of them. How do we put the pieces together to win those tight ones? And, for us as a team, for our entire league, we recognize how hard it is to get points in this conference. I've only been around 4 years, but all 4 years have felt something like this. So, really stressing the importance of every single puck, every single shift, can be the difference between conference points and no conference points. And that's typically how it shakes out in the MIAC.
All right, good luck today.
Thank you.
All right, there's Tyler Lindstrom. I thought pretty honest assessment from Tyler of where the team is the second half right now. It's such a great first half for the Oles. You come into the second half ranked, and right now in the second half, a record of 1 win, 2 losses, and 3 ties. As you see, it's dark in here. I'm trying to read my notes, but 1, 2, and 3 in the second half. So not exactly where they wanted to be. A tough one last night. It could obviously, a game could have gone either way. And we'll get to the standings at some point throughout the intermission and during the broadcast. But you look from first place to 7th place in the MIAC, just 4 points between first and 7th. Well, Ava's going to put the graphics up right now. There are the standings. First to 7th, 4 points. Literally just 1 win away. You could go from 7th to almost first. So it is crazy right now. The Oles get the 1 point last night. They move up to 12. But St. Mary's at 12. Hamlin got a big win with 2 out of the 3 points there. So they move up to 12. So pretty incredible where the standings are at. The Oles do have 2 games in hand compared to most in the MIAC. But another huge one today. Obviously, the Cobbers getting 2. That helped to push them up the standings, up to 13. They're in solo 4th, entering play today. Players hitting the ice. We will send it to ice level for the starting lineup and the anthem here in Northfield.
We'd like to welcome our visiting team, the Concordia College Cobbers from Moorhead, Minnesota. The NCAA promotes good sportsmanship at all athletic contests. Please support your team in a positive manner and refrain from any inappropriate language or actions directed to the players, coaches, or officials of today's match. Fans, please be advised that pucks may leave the ice at any time throughout today's game. For your safety, we ask you to remain alert and aware of play at all time. Thank you for joining us and enjoy today's game. And now for today's starting lineup for the Concordia College Cobbers, starting in goal from Moorhead, Minnesota, number 29, Noel Olsenowski. Starting on defense from Hermantown, Minnesota, number 2, Jackson Lucia. Starting on defense from Fargo, North Dakota, number 3, Will Hoffer. Starting on left wing from Moorhead, Minnesota, number 28, Caden Triggs. Starting on right wing from La Habra, California, number 8, Joe Hargengagi. And starting at center from Thief River Falls, Minnesota, number 11, Tucker Skyme. The Cobbers are coached by assistant coaches Elliot Bates, Will Kunka, and Joey Fodstad, and head coach Kirk Olam. And now for the starting lineup for the St. Olaf Oles, starting in goal from Castle Rock, Colorado, number 33, Matthew Mullen. Starting on defense from Edina, Minnesota, number 17, Gunnar Johnson. Starting on defense from Stillwater, Minnesota, number 5, Camden Benson. Starting on left wing from Grand Forks, North Dakota, number 9, Joey Cannelli. Starting on right wing from Shoreview, Minnesota, number 14, Tony Leahy. And starting at center from Huntington Beach, California, number 10, Tyler Green. The Oles are coached by assistant coaches Terry Vanderwalker, Dylan Johnson, and head coach Tyler Lindstrom. The linesmen for today's game are Matt Kaler and Brendan Bakke, and the referees are Jeremy Hendrickson and Rick Larson. Now, if you'd all please rise, remove your caps if you're able, and face our nation's flag as St. Olaf student Nathan Howard performs our national anthem.
lights are on inside St. Olaf Ice Arena for the final time this weekend. Josh Powers alongside our crew. Great job, by the way, by Nathan Howard on the organ with the national anthem, providing the ambiance here inside the beautiful St. Olaf Ice Arena. And a critical one today, the Cobbers. That top line was nasty last night. Caden Triggs, Tucker Skyme, Joseph Hargindegi. Of course, they're paired together again. Same exact lineup for the Cobbers, save for the extra skater. They swap out one guy, John Blake, in the lineup for the Cobbers, replacing Isaac Baker. For the Olies, a couple of changes. Matthew Mullen getting the start in net. He has been equally as good, literally almost to the stat as Ryan Nolan. So Mullen getting the start in goal this afternoon, and a couple of swaps. Matt Munro in the lineup, Connor Jensen in the lineup, and out of the lineup, Michael Webster and Nick Hatton. So there are the lineup changes. Concordia going with the exact same lines even as last night. So literally just the extra skater, the only difference. They got the win. They liked what they saw last night. They outshot the Olies in the game by a drastic margin. Let's see if the Olies can bounce back and get a big 3 points like the women did last night. Congrats to the women. They beat Concordia 1-0, a 40-save shutout last night. Good luck to the women. They will puck drop at 4. And I'll enjoy that, watching that back when I get home tonight. Hopefully I'll watch this one back after a St. Olaf win. They got off to a hot start last night, scoring 2 minutes in, but Concordia, as you heard Tyler in the pregame interview, has not, they were problematic, but also the Olies, Coach Lindstrom wanting some better play here today. St. Olaf again without 2 of their 3 leading scorers, as we talked about in the pregame interview. That does not help without leading scorer Adam Johnson and Nick Sawicki. Johnson likely done for the year. They're hoping to get Sawicki back soon, but not available today. Right side. This is Zach Stoner as it deflects up and out of play. Concordia is without one of their better players as well. Carson Triggs, not available this weekend. I'm assuming he's the younger brother of Caden, or brother of Caden. Not available today for the visitors. St. Olaf had a slight face-off edge last night. The Olies came into the weekend bottom in the MIAC in draws, just north of 45%. Around the wall, Stoner will send it. Look out into the crowd. It looks like everybody's okay. We had a big crowd last night, maybe the biggest of the season. A great environment. It's going to be a little less of a crowd today. A lot going on campus basketball right now. So it won't be the same atmosphere as last night. The football team was rowdy as usual last night. But a lot of people still trickling in and plenty watching on the concourse. Ozone face-off chance and won by Hunter Hayes, and a line drive shot right on by Panisa. Fought off by Olsanowski, who was good last night, getting the win. Go through the lines here at next whistle for St. Olaf. A couple changes. Here's Evan Smutney back in the lineup again. He'll kick it to his stick and backhand it up along the wall. Simon Pollock touches it to center. And we have an early whistle and a hand pass on the Cobbers. The lines for the Olies, you heard the starters, Green, Leahy, and Kennelly. Carl Erickson with Cody Kemp and Simon Pollock. Panisa, Hayes, and Johnson paired together again. And Kalijah McElroy with Connor McNaughton and Panna Efremides. Defensively, Gunnar Johnson with Bjorn Lervik, Connor Jensen in the lineup with Evan Smutney and Matt Munro in the lineup. 2 changes defensively. He's paired with Benson. Jack Boxer is the extra skater, the 7th defenseman. He's out there now trying to chase it down in the corner as Boxer. Hit the back of the base of the net and up and out of play. Goaltender matchup. Noel Olsanowski, the freshman from Moorhead. Goals against average went up slightly. He's at 1.61 now. He has a 5-4-1 record, 1 shutout, and a save percentage of 94.2. One of the best save percentages in the MIAC, actually even in the country. Olsanowski has been terrific. for the Cobbers. Cross corner, Cam Benson there. Sends it to Gunner, he'll lift it to neutral, sent right back in. The Cobbers definitely had a neutral ice advantage last night. Also was better on the forecheck. Made things very difficult for the Oles. There's another pass that does not connect. Stoner drifts back. Had it intercepted though by Ephraimides. He'll send it to space. And it's Brady O'Brien, the senior co-captain, sending it down for the Cobbers. Gunnar Johnson, St. Olaf's version of Brady O'Brien, senior co-captain, gets it back to neutral. And now ahead to Leahy. Looks over his shoulder, sees Kennelly. Couldn't get it to him cleanly. He had a chance to poke at it, but it's Stoner who will lift it toward the line and over the head of Boxer. Bjorn Lervik rides out that check and sends it into Cobber territory. Stoner is there, had it intercepted by Kennelly. In front for Leahy, broken up. Out to the line for Boxer. He'll coast to the circle. Boxer, backhanded centering pass. Tyler Green lasers one right on and caught by Olsenowski. Matthew Mullen is the starter today for St. Olaf. The sophomore, literally just about as good as numbers as Ryan Nolan. A 93.5 save percentage compared to Nolan at 93.3. 2.4 goals against for Mullen, 2.32 for Nolan, and a 2-1-3 record, very similar to Nolan's record of 5-1-3. Interchangeable goaltenders for St. Olaf. One a freshman last night, and then the sophomore Mullen getting the start today from Colorado. From California, Jonathan Panisa, dangerous centering pass. Coach Lindstrom wanting more consistent play from this line here this afternoon as it's down for an icing call against the Cobbers. Want to thank Allina Health, a proud partner of St. Olaf College, providing their sports medicine services to Ole student athletes. Their specialists help ensure your Oles are in peak condition and ready to play at their highest potential. So let them partner with you to unlock your limitless potential. Visit them online at allinahealth.org to find a clinic near you. Ozone draw chance for Carl Erickson, who wins it, I guess, back toward the point. Gunner will ship it to the back wall for Hunter Hayes. Hayes tries the wraparound and it goes out front. Gunner back to the circle. Willie Johnson, his younger brother, snaps one off and it's caught and held by Olsenowski. Our email is open once again this afternoon. Thank you to all those who reached out last night. We would love to hear from you again, or some new folks that did not email into last night's broadcast. Ava has put up that QR code on your screen. You can scan that or do it the old-fashioned way. Just type it in. Ole Hockey Booth at stolaf.edu. We'd love to give some more shout-outs on this slightly less cold Saturday than last night, but still temperatures below zero here in Minnesota. We'd love to hear where you are today. Here's a slip, and quickly Matt Mullen out to prevent a breakaway chance. Quick thinking by Mullen, and definitely the right decision to come out there as Connor Jensen couldn't keep his edge. Up ahead, that goes through. Chipped toward the corner by Ian Ness, freshman local from Moorhead. Carl Erickson on the breakout. One of 8 freshmen in the lineup today, and 11 out of the 19 in the lineup for St. Olaf, freshmen or sophomores. One of the youngest teams, if not the youngest team in the MIAC, the Oles. Off a great first half. It's been a little bit tougher here in the second half. But a big chance today to vault up the standings and pass the Cobbers back, with the Oles having 2 games in hand compared to the Cobbers as well. Matt Munro in the lineup. Tries to center it to Pollock, broken up. Munro has it back. Tried the toe drag, but lost control of it. Out instead to Lervik. Around to McElroy. He kind of fanned on it, but it was over there to Pollock. He plays it to the corner, tracked down by McElroy. Good shift here for the Oles. That cycle pass hit the official, and it's scooped up by Ludke, and he'll flip it to center. Munro is there to backhand it ahead. And it gets disrupted at the line, and the Oles are offside with 14:42 to go. We have 3 player interviews today. We will get to those at intermission, with all 3 of them being freshmen. We've got Connor Jensen, we've got Eli Miller, and Cody Kempf, our player interviews today. So hopefully you enjoy those at intermission. Gunnar Johnson holds his own, a much better first 5 minutes of play last night. Obviously, the Oles got the goal last night, but they had just 4 shots on goal in the first period. Last night, they have 3 already today, and they've controlled much more of the play here so far in this one. Lifted all the way down, Talon Plant on his horse, but it's tracked down by Pana Ephraimides. Great effort by Ephraimides. Works it loose. Tried to find Leahy, broken up. And the Cobbers slide it to center, but there's Evan Smutney to send it right back in. Tal Halliday gets it up ahead to the center ice area. The Oles are there, and they play it back to Tony Leahy. Leahy moving in on the backhand, misses wide. Good chance there from the junior captain of the Oles. Colton Nessler wins a puck battle and gets a shot on goal, didn't get all of it. And it's easily dealt with by Matthew Mullen with 13:40 left in the first period. Also want to thank BSN Sports, the industry leader in sports equipment and team apparel, proudly equipping over 1,000 collegiate programs across the country. Their mission is to support the unsung heroes that help student athletes succeed. All the coaches, parents, teachers, and administrators that are truly the heart of the game. Learn more at bsnsports.com. This is the only game in the 2 o'clock window. The other games in the MIAC, 3 more of them will start either at 5 or 7. Carl Erickson entering Cobber territory, circling behind the net, out front for Kempf as he's hammering away, and it's covered by Olsenowski. Much more pep in the step of the Oles here in this first period. But there's that dangerous top line drifting out for the Cobbers, centered by Tucker Skyme, who had the game winner last night in overtime. Hargindegi had a goal, Caden Triggs, they all scored. All 3 of the goals. If you can slow down this line, the Oles figure they have a pretty good chance to win this game. I think the Oles may be a little bit deeper of a team, but it is a very talented top line for the Cobbers. And again, St. Olaf without 2 of their best forwards, 2 of their 3 leading scorers not available in this one. Panisa at neutral. Backhands it ahead. Tracked down by Stoner. Tried to find O'Brien, it missed him, but it finds the stick of Caden Triggs. Ahead to Skyme, he'll send it in. Hargindegi at the circle, right on, kicked aside by Mullen. First shot on goal, of course, comes from this top line of the Cobbers. Jackson Lucia sends it ahead, it's deflected up into the net and out of play. A lot of whistles here in the first 8 minutes. We will have more men's coverage next week. Our next men's broadcast will be on Friday. Augsburg, the opponent, really struggling this year. Down in 8th place, so a huge weekend next week, especially if the Oles can get a win here. Chance to get some big points next week and vault up near the top of the standings where they ended the first half near the top, just behind Gustavus and St. John's. The Gusties are idle this weekend. The Johnnies play later tonight. They were off last night, having skated to a 2-2 tie Thursday with St. Mary's. Connor Jensen lifts it in. Hoping for some player interview karma. Tried to track it down. Connor McNaughton. Instead, it's Ludke who plays it ahead, and it's chipped behind Anaski. Benson will get there first, and he finds Boxer. Ahead to Joey Kennelly. Joey will just send it to space. Olsenowski gets a piece of it at the corner. Here's a interception by Leahy. He gets it back in front, right on, and covering it, Olsenowski. So another close-in chance, that time by Tony Leahy. Junior captain playing in his 68th game. The only junior captain for the Oles this year. Tyler Green will try to win an O-zone faceoff. He scored last night, now up to 6 goals on the season, tied for the team lead. He'll win the draw to Benson. His wrister got smothered, but it finds Kennelly. Poked at, and it's Tyler Green! Kick save, Olsenowski. That looked destined for the back of the net until Olsenowski kick that one out with the right leg. Here's Leahy back in. He waits, drops it down for Green. Green pokes at it. Joining them, Simon Pollock. But emerging are the Cobbers, and they have it at center, Jack Hansen. Ran into difficulty at the blue line. Scooped up by Kemp. No, he didn't scoop it up. Instead, it's Matthew Hard keeping it along the perimeter. Now the Oles have it. It's Simon Pollock. Good at the line with Erickson. Misses high and wide. Karem's right out in front. And Olszanowski saw it. That was a crazy Karem. Looked like right off the dasher. And right back in front. That could have been a puck luck goal easily for the Oles, but Olszanowski saw it and caught it. But another O-zone faceoff for St. Olaf, already with 7 shots on goal here in the first 10 minutes. Much better play from the Oles than we saw last night early here. Trying to pay it off with a goal for the lead. Connor Jensen throws it back into Cobber territory. It's O'Brien ahead, but the pass doesn't connect to Nessler. Panisa gets going in the right direction. He'll slide it around. Olszanowski finds Stoner, and he'll lift it again back to center. Looking for Nessler. Connor Jensen lost his stick as it Karem's out front. And is it a penalty? It is a slashing call on the Cobbers, which will give them a penalty kill. And the Oles will be on the power play for the first time. 0 for 2 last night, but they're number 2 in the MIAC at 27.5% this season. Hoping to get the power play going here this afternoon. 14 power play goals on the season for St. Olaf. Cobber penalty kill about middle of the pack in the MIAC. They were perfect last night with limited opportunities. The Oles win the draw. Gunnar Johnson. Down into the corner.
Concordia calls penalty assessed to number 17, Colton
at the circle
Nessler.
now, in front, trying to get it to Leahy, deflects behind the net. Leahy picks it up.
At 8,
Gunnar
34.
back to McNaughton, in front, Leahy deflects to Hayes, off the post! Great passing combination, everything but the goal. Panisa stretches out, can't keep it in. And here's Caden Triggs shorthanded. The Cobbers have 5 shorthanded goals already this year. And Mullen makes sure that one was not number 6 as he squeezes it. Minute 21 left in the man advantage. Great opportunity for Hunter Hayes, already with 4 goals for the freshman this season. Just rings it right off the post. The Oles change and they bring out the Tyler Green power play line with Kennelly and Kempf and Willie Johnson as the forwards, Connor Jensen the defenseman. Green circles back, watched by Ludke. And now they've got it to Kennelly at center. Dropped off to Kemp, back to the corner for Kennelly. He'll push it a little bit further. Green and now Willie Johnson. Top of the zone, Jensen. Tyler Green at the circle. Jensen, one-timer, dipped in front and just out of the reach of Willie Johnson for a rebound chance. Johnson spins away, still 35 to go in the power play. Connor Jensen, one-timer, Green, and it's smothered by Olszanowski, making his 8th save already of the first period. Still 27 seconds left in the man advantage. And the Oles will bring back their top power play. With the dangerous sniper Jonathan Panisa lurking. Leads the team in career points at 69, including 36 goals. Face-off won by Hayes. Around the wall, Triggs will try to clear. Nice keep in by Gunnar Johnson. Down to the corner for McNaughton. That time pushed to center by Hargindegi and Triggs. One of the two got it to neutral. Power play under 10. Panisa looking for a last opportunity. On the backhand, he'll
Concordia,
stop in the
full
circle
strength.
as the penalty ends. Lervik walking in. Pad save on that drive. Gunner has it at neutral. He'll lift it right back in. Tracking it down, Simon Pollock. He gets hit in the corner. Very physical game last night. As we mentioned a lot of times during the broadcast, a little less physical so far. Cam Benson loved it, but it was outside of the imaginary line in the zone and offside with 8 minutes to go. In his 4th season, Kirk Olaf, just the 6th head coach in Cobber history, trying to bring them back to the playoffs this year, currently in solo 4th, but as we know, just 4 points separating 1st and 7th. So nobody can get comfortable at all in that top 5 right now. Played in by John Blake, the extra skater, 26, junior from Champlin. St. Olaf changes as that puck drifts all the way down. Tal Halliday over to his partner, Talon Plant. He'll send it through center. This should be far enough for icing, and there is the call with 7:29 left in the first period. Good luck to the women. They'll drop at 4 o'clock. Big win last night up in Moorhead. 1-0, a 40-save shutout for Balin Shakeman. And 3 huge points for the women last night to move them into much better position, 4th place. That one off the post again, poking at it, Erickson. And hanging on, Olsenowski. Evan Smutney had the drive from the point. It was deflected right on, and in fact, right off the post. Could have easily bounced off of Olsenowski and back in. Erickson was also there. 2 pipes hit already in the first period for St. Olaf. They'll move the face-off, I guess, to the left dot. I mean, puck, I guess, went off the left post, so Erickson will try to win the draw-in, does, right back to Smutney. He'll push it over to Jensen. His line drive, hit traffic in front, still available. Backhand by Erickson was blocked. The Oldies keep it alive again, Erickson. Trying to work his way around a check. Got it down to Kennelly. He'll slide it along the wall. Jensen poking at it. And he gets it down into the corner as the Oldies want to change. 7 minutes left in the first period. Very much controlled by the Oldies. Mullen slides it around for Jensen. Willie Johnson up for Kemp. Can't win the race there. Ludke passes it right to Evan Smutney. He'll enter enemy territory. His wrist shot misses wide. Comes out to Panisa. Panisa between the circles. Fires in. That misses the net. Lervik D to D. Hayes deflects it in, couldn't grab full control of it, figuring out what to do with it, Janaski. O'Brien softly through center. Lervik is there for the Oldies. Here is a chance maybe for Concordia, but unable to get the shot off Blake Johnson. Not a lot of time spent in the St. Olaf zone. The official tripping up Kennelly, who was about to break free at neutral with the puck. Unfortunate there. Gunner with 6 minutes to go. Panisa to Kennelly. Turn back at the line. Here comes Matthew Hart. Senior from Warroad. In the corner. Pass intercepted and sent the other way by Lervik. Talon Plant with a long pass. Up for Blake Johnson, didn't receive it cleanly, and Connor Jensen pries it away from him. Beautiful pirouette there from Connor Jensen. And finds Green. It's a 3-on-2. Dropped off to Pollock, and he lines one right on. Caught once again by Olsenowski. Beautiful play defensively there from Connor Jensen, leading the way to an on-man rush. Reminder coming up at the break, we'll have our first 2 of 3 player interviews with Cody Kempf and Eli Miller, so stick around for that. We'll also run down all the scores from last night in the MIAC, the schedule for later today, and we'll, of course, recap the first period stats coming up at intermission. Josh Powers here alongside our crew. Thanks for tuning in once again on this Saturday. As much as it's fun to cover both men's and women's games in the same weekend, I do like these two-game series, much more like what you see at Division I, of course. The Cobbers used to that pretty much every weekend for them. You always get maybe one or two of those a year, one on the road, and of course the Cobbers, whether it's the men or women, each year they get one of those two-game MIAC home series. Flipped in by Kemp with under 5 minutes left. The Oles are now up to 11 shots on goal. Caden Triggs creeping past the blue line, sends it around for Tucker Skyme. It goes through him, but tracked down by Hargindegi. To the point for a long wrist shot, patted aside by Mullen. Triggs around and stretching out. Will Hofer unable to keep it in. Top line of the Cobbers starting to change as it's Connor McNaughton. Back to McElroy, gets it a little bit ahead. Hofer back to center. There's Benson. He'll pivot, gain the red, and dump it in. On the forecheck, Connor McNaughton. Forces the loose puck. Tracked down by the Oles. Out front, Lervik drives! Smothered by Osanowski, who didn't see it until late. He was screened in front by Colton Nessler, but he squeezed the 5-hole and kept it from going in the back of the net. Good look there from Lervik, looking for his first of the season. Face-off won by Tyler Green. Kennelly wrists one way up over the top. He always looks up here. I don't have the count yet. They've been pretty dominant in face-offs here, especially in the O-zone in the first period. That one from Lervik drifts high, walking off the wall. It's Green! Right on, and another pad save from Osanowski. Leahy dragged down and a penalty. And this strong first period continues for St. Olaf. Back on the power play. Zach Stoner guilty as he coasts into the sin bin. So power play number 2 upcoming with 3:38 left in the period. The Tyler Green power play line out to start. As the Cobbers jam it up, they have 3 of their 4 players over there. Need to be a little careful. Connor Jensen
Concordia College penalty
keeps it
assessed
to the
number
perimeter.
34, Zach Stoner.
Chance here for
2-minute minor
O'Brien.
holding
He'll
at
chip it.
16:22.
And
Stoner
sending
for
it all
holding
the way
at
down,
16:22
Talon Plant.
of the first period.
There's Carson Triggs, ever lurking. Always cherry picking, very offensive minded. One of the reasons why he's over the 20-point mark now this year after last night. Forces a face-off. The Oles change, and they've got their number 1 power play out there, centered by Hunter Hayes. With control, Gunnar Johnson. Over Leahy at the circle in front. Looking for McNaughton, broken up and sent all the way down. McNaughton and Leahy enter the zone. Push to the back wall for McNaughton. Gets it over to Panisa, looking for options. Finds Hayes, back to Panisa. Gunner with 54 to go. McNaughton in front. Leahy misses wide with a wrister. Tracked down by Panisa. Back out to Gunnar Johnson. 45 to go. Hayes with a little room. Panisa at the circle. Will he trigger? Not yet, and then misses the pass. An unforced error there, drifting back to center. Gunnar Johnson back in McNaughton. Still a half minute to go. Risky pass sent across, and it's intercepted and sent the other way. as the Oles will change one more time with 2 minutes left in the period. With speed, Simon Pollock leaves it for Erickson. As we get the rare third line power play out there. Lervik, dying seconds of the power play. Unable to handle that one. Pollock, and the Cobbers clear, and the Oles are 0 for 2 on the man advantage. Did not get a shot on goal on that man advantage. Or maybe there was one. We'll check that at the break. They do tack one more on, up to 14 shots on goal now in the first period. 1:26 to go. Again, if you'd like to reach out via our email, you can do so. We'd love to give some shout outs during this afternoon's broadcast. Ole Hockey Booth at stolaf.edu, OLE Hockey Booth at stolaf.edu, or scan the QR code that our director Ava has up on our screen right now. We'd love to hear from you this afternoon. At the line, Jackson Lucia hits traffic with that one. Caroms to the half wall. Picked up by the Cobbers. Lucia now with it, working toward behind the net. Tried to flip it on and missed the wraparound. Guess it's not quite a wraparound, but close in shot there. Kennelly pushes it in with a minute to go.
1 minute remaining.
Halliday. Up ahead, it's caught by Tucker Skyme. Drops it off to Hargindegi. Back over to Skyme. He's alone in front and misses wide. Well, they just get on the ice, and it's a grade A chance within seconds for this Cobber top line. Ahead again to Skyme with Triggs on the opposite side. Pass deflected. Gunnar Johnson has it. And now the Oles move ahead with less than a half minute to go. Evan Smutney settles that bouncing puck. Intercepted by Hargindegi with 15 to go. He'll send it deep. Benson is there, trying to get it out of there quickly, and he does as he lifts it through center with under 10 seconds left. Zach Stoner not really interested in a last-second chance, and so we've reached the end of one here in Northfield. A period very much controlled by the Oles, but no goals to show for it, despite 14 shots on goal.
14 to Concordia's 5. Alina Health is a proud partner of St. Olaf College, providing sports medicine services to Ole student athletes. Our sports medicine specialists help ensure Oles are in peak condition and ready to play at their highest potential. Let us partner with you to unlock your limitless potential. Visit alinahealth.org to find a clinic near you. Our partners at BSN Sports, the industry leader in sports equipment and team apparel, proudly equip over 1,000+ collegiate programs across the United States with the goal of supporting the unsung heroes that help young athletes succeed on and off the field. BSN Sports recognizes that coaches, teachers, administrators, parents, and mentors are truly the heart of the game. At BSN, our experts know your sports and the needs of the athletes you serve. Learn more at bsnsports.com. St. Olaf has partnered with Hometown Ticketing to provide online ticket sales for home football, volleyball, hockey, and basketball games. Please visit athletics.stolaf.edu and click on tickets to purchase your tickets for future home games. Ole fans, don't forget to download the official St. Olaf Athletics app, available now in Google Play and the App Store, by searching for St. Olaf Athletics. The app contains rosters, schedules, photo galleries, and more for your favorite teams, and allow fans to customize notifications for the latest news in Ole Athletics. New this year, St. Olaf Athletics has partnered with BSN Sports to open a year-round online sideline store for fans, alumni, family, and more. You can find the link at athletics.stolaf.edu and in the official St. Olaf Athletics app. And one more time, fans, please be advised that pucks may leave the ice at any time throughout today's game. For your safety, we ask you to remain alert and aware of play at all times. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the game.
All right, Josh Powers alongside our crew. Scoreless through one here in Northfield. Makes sense. Both these teams allow less than 3 goals per game, among the top in the MIAC. St. Olaf number 1 in the MIAC in fewest goals allowed. Schedule in the MIAC for later. This is the only game in the 2 o'clock window. Hamlin and Augsburg will drop at 5. Hamlin going for the sweep there. Bethel and Scholastica at 7, and then St. Mary's and St. John's resuming. They play Thursday. They will resume at 7 in St. Cloud. Last night, Augsburg and Hamlin a 2-2 tie with, I guess the Hamlin not going for the sweep, but they did get 2 of the 3 points with the shootout win. Bethel defeated Scholastica in comeback fashion 5-3. And then Concordia in overtime defeating St. Olaf. Those were the results last night. Thursday, St. John's and St. Mary's 2-2 tie with the Cardinals getting the extra point there. So there's the upcoming schedule. All those games at either 5 or 7 later today. There's the updated standings through last night. Bethel was victorious. They get 3 points, vaulting them up into a first place tie with Gustavus, who is idle this weekend in the MIAC. And then 2 points behind the Johnnies. They have a chance to leapfrog Gustavus with a 3-point win. Concordia can pull even with the Gusties with a 3-point result. They're at 13 and solo 4th. And then they 3-way tie for the 5th and final playoff spot with the Olies, the Cardinals, and Hamlin. 1st to 7th, all separated by 4 points. It is wild with just 4 weekends left in the season after today. The opponents for the Olies, you see in the standings there, they've already played Bethel in non-conference. They've already played Gustavus in conference and St. John's in conference, and they'll have played Concordia. So the last 4 games on the schedule for the Olies will be the series with Bethel. So you've got the first place team tied there, but then the other 3 against St. Mary's, Augsburg, and Scholastica, especially the bottom 2, the Augies and Scholastica. So those 2 weekends could be big point weekends. Not going to be easy, as we saw Scholastica lead for a lot of last night's game. Augsburg obviously with a tie as well last night, but the Olies have a favorable schedule, having faced the teams near the top of the standings more frequently in the first half. So crazy, 1st to 4th separated by 4 points. And I think you'll see that continue. Unlike last year where Gustavus kind of ran away with the regular season, doesn't look like that'll happen, although the Gusties have won 9 games in a row. Let's get to our first 2 of 3 player interviews, continuing to round up this extremely large freshman class. And one player off to a great start with 4 goals already in his freshman season. From the upper Midwest, he's a Wisconsin native. Here's my player interview with Cody Kemp.
All right, we're with Cody Kemp, one of the freshmen. Cody, thanks for doing your interview.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
What has life been like for you as a college student now, finally? First half of the year is in the books, both hockey and school-wise, so how did it all go?
It's been pretty well. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot easier to adjust than I thought it was going to be. The guys have been great, and school's obviously tough at times, but you get through it, and everything's gone well so far.
And you're off to a great start in your career with 4 goals already this season, so how cool has it been to not only get adjusted to the schoolwork, but you're making some pretty big contributions here in your first year on the ice?
Yeah, obviously that's been very, very big for me. You know, you don't want to get into a slump early and kind of get down on yourself, so being able to get a few early is nice, and just trying to help the team as much as I can.
What is this freshman group like? It's one of the larger that I can remember in my time covering the team. So how did it all come together, and how close are you guys as a group?
Oh, I think we're really close. I mean, we're hanging out together all the time. We're always looking for stuff to do. You know, whether it's sitting in the caf or hanging out in the dorms, we're always together, and I think it's a very tight knit group of guys.
Walk us through your journey of hockey, Cody. When did you start playing the game, and when did you realize that college hockey was something that you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, so I mean, I started when I was really young. I think I was on the ice when I was like 4. Obviously worked up through youth and then started playing AAA when I was 13. Got to around the 18-year-old age and realized I was going to play juniors. Played juniors for a few years and realized, you know, that college hockey dream was pretty much a reality. So I just pushed through it, and here I am.
What were some of the options, and how did St. Olaf come up on the radar? You're a Midwest guy from just outside of Madison, and so maybe you had heard of St. Olaf, but you stayed here in the Midwest. So how did that all come about to get to you to here?
Yeah, I wanted to come back up north, obviously, be close to home. And St. Olaf, you know, great facilities, great coaching, great up-and-coming program. Made it really easy for me to decide to come here.
Have you found some spots on campus? What are your favorite go-to spots? You mentioned the dorm, obviously the athletic facility. I'm sure you spend quite a bit of time here too, but how about on campus or off campus, those spots that you and the boys enjoy?
On campus, I mean, we're in the caf a lot. You know, we sit in the caf a lot. We like to just talk and eat some good food. Off campus, we've gone bowling a lot. We go to Flaherty's a lot and get some bowling in during the week. So that's been a lot of fun for us too.
How about academics, Cody? What does that look like right now? Have you targeted a major? Is it still up in the air? What are some of those possibilities? Or if you've decided, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I decided to be an economics major with a focus in finance. So that's been pretty good. And I think a lot of the guys are doing the same thing. So we're able to kind of work with each other and learn from each other as well.
Yeah, it seems like about a 90% rate of econ. And it's like that goes not only the current group, but it's like years past. And it seems like a brotherhood, a fraternity. They're getting these guys jobs when they leave, and it's a kind of a cool way to, I don't know, game the system is the right word, but it seems like a lot of doors are open just from past and current teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of connections in the finance and economics world, which is great for us. You know, it gives us kind of a gateway to a potential job, so it's great.
All right, Cody, thanks for doing your first interview. Congrats on the great start for you, and hopefully a big win today for the team.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, good to hear from Cody Kempf. There's Cody from Verona, Wisconsin, just outside of Madison. One player who didn't have to go very far for his college journey. As we know, from just down the street, he's not in the lineup today, but he's been frequently in the lineup for the Oldies this year. From just literally down the road in Dundas, here's my player interview with Eli Miller.
All right, catching up with another freshman, Eli Miller. Eli, appreciate the time.
Of course.
Walk us through your first half of your freshman year here at college. You're a college student. How did it all go? The ups and downs, but you made it through, and obviously you had some success on the ice too.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to get back into school after playing juniors and being off for a little bit. And for athletes, I think it's easier coming into school. Like, you already have a group of guys that before you even know them, they're already your buddies. So it makes it a lot easier for new starts.
Walk us through your hockey journey, Eli. You're a Minnesota guy. When did you start playing the game? When did you feel like you're pretty good at this thing? And obviously, when did college hockey become a reality for you?
Yeah, I started pretty young, probably around 5 years old. And then just like throughout high school, it was something that I did. It was fun. And then started talking to junior teams and stuff, and that's when it got more real.
And you kind of have a little bit more of a unique story because you grew up or lived at least part of your life just down the road, the next town down the street in Dundas. So when did you, I'm sure St. Olaf was always kind of in the back of your mind. Was that kind of like the dream school for you, and how did that all come about?
Yeah, honestly, not really. I never really thought about going to St. Olaf, and then coaches reached out, and I honestly haven't spent very much time on campus before coming here, and just seeing the campus, seeing the facilities. I mean, we have one of the best rinks for sure in the MIAC, for sure in Division III hockey, and just seeing it felt like a good spot.
And I'm assuming that you got some supporters and loved ones that don't have to go very far to watch you play. So how cool is that they can just kind of drive a couple minutes and even closer than people that live maybe even in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it makes it easier definitely being at school and knowing you can go home if you ever need a break from this place. You can go home and see your family, and it's always fun having family in the stands cheering you on.
Did you get those clothes washed? Have a night. I mean, you get good food here. There's no doubt. The meals here are good, but maybe a home-cooked meal is even better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
How about your academics, Eli? What does that look like for you right now? Have you thought about a major? Have you got a couple choices, or maybe even have that picked out? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm probably going to do environmental studies as a major. And yeah.
What do you think that might turn into at some point, or is that even too far away to think like 3.5 years from now what you might want to do when hockey is done?
Yeah, hopefully do some DNR work with Department of Natural Resources, something along those lines.
Have you always been kind of an outdoors guy? If so, what are some of those favorite activities that you like to do outside?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time outdoors. I fly fish every day when I get
Every
the chance.
day?
So
Okay.
yeah.
Where are some of the spots that you go to fly fish? Are there spots close around here, or do you have to travel a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know if I can tell my secrets, but no, I'm just kidding. I spend a lot of time. I go to a lot of different places, like southeastern Minnesota,
Okay.
Whitewater area. Yeah.
So you got all the gear. How how much time do you spend kind of getting all the gear, and how much time does that take up in your life?
Well, my car's kind of rigged up and ready to go whenever I want, so I just hop in my car and go.
Are you kind of a guy you go by yourself, or is it like a group thing, or what does that look like?
I fish a lot with my dad.
Okay.
Or yeah, take some buddies that haven't gone before, and yeah, it's fun.
Cool. Nice to learn that about you, Eli. You're off the hook. Your first interview's in the books. Yeah. Congrats on the great start, and hopefully a win for the team today.
So thank you.
All right, there's Eli Miller, big fly fisherman apparently. Says he can do it every day. Maybe not today. I doubt he's going to be out there in -8, but once the weather warms up, I'm sure he'll get out there early and often. Eli Miller from just down the street in Dundas. Josh Powers alongside our crew, first intermission. We'll have one more player interview coming up at next intermission with freshman Connor Jensen. We're hoping to get interviews with each and every player. The men's players are a little trickier than the women's. A lot of them they have their pregame warm-up, and then there's not a lot of time between the warm-up and the skate. So we'll try to get to everybody. I think we've still got 14 guys left to try to track down over the next 4 broadcasts. Maybe there will be another one if the Oles can get a home playoff game, but a lot to be determined over the next 4 weekends after today. First period stats, a period heavily dominated by the Oles, but no goals because making 14 saves, Noel Osanowski. 14-6, the final shots on goal count. The Oles 0 for 2 on the power play, just 2 shots on goal on those 2 penalties, 1 to Nessler and 1 to Stoner, a slashing and a holding penalty. But the Cobbers killed them both off. The Oles now 0 for 4 on the power play this weekend. St. Olaf also had a decided edge in face-off, 16-9 in the first period, 64%. The Oles coming into the weekend just 45% on draws, so doing very well. They won the face-off battle last night as well. And the shot chart heavily slanted in favor of the Oles. The Cobbers attempted just 7 shots. The Oles did not block any of the 7. 1 missed the net, 6 on net, and all 6 saved by Matthew Mullen. The Oles attempting 29 shots in the first period. The Cobbers, give them credit, they blocked 7 of them. Almost a fourth of the shots on goal were blocked. That's their season average, by the way, in blocks per game. Concordia, just over 7. They blocked 7 in the first period. 6 of the shots missed the net. 2 went off the post, 14 on net, and all 14 saved by Noel Osanowski. So kind of a what could have been period. Could have easily been 2-3 goals for the Oles, but here we are, 0-0, although you have to like the play much better in that first period than what we saw last night for St. Olaf. That looked kind of like the Hamlin game where they won 9-1 a couple weeks ago, that first period. Teams making their way back out on the ice. Again, good luck to the women's team. They'll drop at 4 o'clock up in Moorhead. It'll be a late night arrival tonight for the women. That game will get done at around 6 or so, and then the journey back down here to Northfield. Looking forward to watching that big win for the women last night. 1-0, the shutout. They get all 3 points on what looks like a very much improved Cobber team. They were tied, just like the men were. The women were tied in MIAC play with 4 wins each heading into last night. So that was a big win for the women on the road, getting the shutout. Hopefully they can do the exact same thing starting at 4. We're starting the second period as we're underway, as it's lifted in off another face-off win by Cam Benson. Kennelly tracking it down in the corner, joined by Tyler Green. Green, puck ran into the official there. Kennelly swats it toward the corner, played there by the Cobbers, over to Triggs. He'll bounce one toward the line, gathered there by Benson. He'll send one harmlessly played by the stick of Olsanowski. But more zone time to start the second period. Line has been very good tonight, or this afternoon I should say, the Tyler Green line. With Pollock and Leahy as the forwards. And right now, the top line for the Cobbers, they defended for the last minute. Now they're off the ice. That's where you want them, back in their own zone. Zach Stoner latches on. Sends one up to Ian Ness. Ness will dump it in, and playing it there, Mullen, he'll hang on to it as we're a minute in to this second period. Tyler Lindstrom, in his first season for the Oles after 3 years as an assistant. Doing a great job. The Oles ranked to start the second half, but sometimes that second half, the Oles have one of the biggest freshman classes in the country. Sometimes that second half can wear on you for those freshmen. I'm seeing that a little bit now. Two of their three top players out. Trying to get a big win here today as it's offside at the line. Gives us a chance to remind you that Allina Health is a proud partner of St. Olaf College, providing their sports medicine services to Ole student athletes. Their specialists help ensure your Oles are in peak condition and ready to play at their highest potential, so let them partner with you to unlock your limitless potential. Visit them online at allinahealth.org to find a clinic near you. Off the wall, grabbed by Lervik, top of the zone. That pass or shot blocked and heading the other way. Could be a 3-on-1. It's Ness. Saucers it over, but it was a little too high for Danaski to handle. Opportunity missed there, rare on the breakout this game. Panisa back the other way. Back to Lervik. He'll trigger and just snares one right off of Ian Ness's leg. Hunter Hayes squeezes around to check. Gets it back from Willie Johnson. Centers it out front. Sent to the corner there, and we have a penalty on the Oles, I believe. Hunter Hayes guilty of a trip. As Ben Ludke, their captain, goes barreling into the wall. So the first power play of the game for Concordia coming up. 0 for 3 last night. Worst power play in the MIAC, just 7 goals, 10.3% on the season. Hard to believe when you've got one of the best lines in the MIAC, especially offensively, but it's been a struggle on the penalty kill. The Oles, middle of the pack on the PK. They've allowed 10 power play goals, 82%, and they almost surrendered their 11th as that shot misses wide. Here's Blake Johnson. Lost his edge. Being shoved by Benson. Stoner pries it free. Hargindegi outside the circle. Up top. Snaring one right toward the goal is Tucker Skyme, and it's gathered by Matt Mullen. As the Oles will change, the Cobbers will keep their number one power play out there. That draw won by the Oles, and it allows them to clear. Nice job on the dot. Cody Kempf winning that draw. It's Caden Triggs in the corner, and an errant pass that'll escape the zone. We'll see if the Cobbers change here, approaching midway through the man advantage. Drifting back, Hargindegi circling behind his net. Hits the St. Olaf line, trying to do it himself, and it's kicked aside by Mullen. Skyme holds the line. He'll wrist one toward the net, and it's snared and covered by Matthew Mullen, as now the Cobbers will change. The Oldies will change again. Keeping fresh players out there with still 50 seconds left in the man advantage. Hansen wins the draw for the Cobbers. Halliday figuring out what to do with it. With just over 40 left in the man advantage. It's Hansen on a line drive. Fought off by Mullen. Rebound to Hard. Back to the point. Halliday to the circle. Hansen sends one again on net, and it's gathered by Mullen with 29 to go. Game with a lot of whistles. We had 25 faceoffs in the first period, and we're headed toward a similar number here in this one. St. Olaf will change again. Might as well keep fresh bodies out there. This time the Oilies win the draw. Jack Boxer able to get it to center. Backhanded back in. Boxer will get there first. Faked the pass, didn't fool the Cobbers as it's sent out front. It caroms around. Settling it is Kennett. Back to the circle. That pass behind Hansen, but he recovers. Here's Halliday, backhand chance, misses, and goes up into the netting for another whistle as the penalty did just end. So the Cobbers 0 for 1 on the power play. 15:52 to go, second period. We'd still like to hear from you. I figured there'd be less emailers in with everybody the same opponent, but if you'd like to email us, Oli Hockey Booth at stolaf.edu. We'd like to hear from you. If you're watching on this Saturday, give us your thoughts on last night's game. Going much better for the Oilies so far. Here's Hunter Hayes, misses the net there. You can scan that QR code as well, Oli Hockey Booth at stolaf.edu. Connor Jensen from deep, patted aside, rebound Willie Johnson. Misses the net. More activity for the Oilies. Gunner will track it down at the blue line. Hits Panisa in stride. Panisa snaps one off and it hits the crossbar. The third post hit by the Oilies in this game. Here's a pass up ahead to Triggs, and he misses with that one. That counterattack of the top line of the Cobbers. Gunnar Johnson. Behind the safety of his own net, now Tyler Green. Weaving his way through neutral. Over to Benson, his shot was blocked, picked up by Green behind the net. Back to Benson, he'll trigger again, and it's kicked aside, I think, by Olsenowski. Green pins it along the wall, getting help from Kennelly. But digging it out of there is Ludke. He'll dish it ahead, and it's Danaski. Toward Ness, but it was too far for him, and Evan Smutney is there to get the icing call for the Oilies with 14:21 to go. We want to thank BSN Sports, the industry leader in sports equipment and team apparel, proudly equipping over 1,000 collegiate programs across the country. Their mission is to support the unsung heroes that help student athletes succeed, all the parents, teachers, coaches, and administrators that are truly the heart of the game. Learn more at bsnsports.com. A crossbar and two pipes hit in the first 25 minutes of this game for St. Olaf. The Cobbers did get a good number of shots on that power play, now up to 12 for the game. Kalijah McElroy loses it at the blue line and offside the call. The Cobbers just 3 weekends left in the MIAC after this one. They will take on Hamlin next on a Wednesday-Friday series. They have next week off. They're idle next week, and then they'll take on the Pipers. That'll be a home and home, actually. That's why it's a Wednesday-Friday, so an unusual schedule there. Lifted to center. Unable to track it down was Matthew Hart, and the Oilies come back the other way. Cody Kemp roughed up as he let that one go. Simon Pollock delivers a big hit of his own, which the Cobbers take exception to. And the Concordia player's still down. I don't think there was a penalty called on that hit. And slow to get up is the defenseman Talon Plant, the sophomore from Marshall, Minnesota. Looks to be okay, although probably not feeling the best right now. A little bit doubled over. They'll take a quick look at him. Face-off will stay here. O'Brien plays it over to Triggs. And the pass from Skyme a little bit behind Hargindegi. Played by Gunnar Johnson. Jensen trying to gain the red and dump it in. Gained the red but didn't dump it in. But Joey Kennelly will. Stoner had it intercepted by Leahy. To Kennelly on the backhand. Couldn't get it on net. Jensen to Gunnar Johnson. He'll lift one. Kicked aside. Rebound for Leahy. Score! They finally get one past Olsenowski, and in the lead for the Oles, Tony Leahy. Second of the season, 9th career goal for the junior captain. He started that whole play, that whole exchange with a turnover on the forecheck. So kind of fitting he was able to pay that off with the goal on the rebound. Jonathan Panisa, arms extended, hoping for a penalty that didn't happen. Evan Smutney on the back pedal. Zach Kennett into the zone for the Cobbers. Behind the net, joined by Nessler, who tried to poke it out front. Played there by Benson. And he'll backhand it ahead, looking for Willie Johnson. They'll surrender the blue line. Panisa had it stolen by Danaski, who drops it off to the defense. Too hot to handle for Benson. He'll stagger over there and get it back to neutral. Here's a turnover. It's Ludke at the circle. He hits the post. So the Cobbers have their first shot off iron. Cody Kempf on the counterattack. Sends it around the wall. Ian Ness is there for Concordia. And back up, here's Danaski, left side. Trying to work around Connor Jensen. Jensen gains control and pushes it ahead to Pollock. Pollock crisscrossing at center, then lost control of it. Blue line turnover scooped up by Danaski and deflected into the student section. And out of play with 11:22 to go here in the second period. Augsburg next week in a home and home. We'll have coverage on Friday, a 7 o'clock start. Saturday up in Minneapolis. Augsburg will have their stream, another 7 o'clock start. The Augies, it's been a struggle the last 2 years. A team entrenched at the top of the standings for about a decade, but right now in 8th place. Still time to change that, but they'll play tonight, and we have a penalty on the Oldies. Jack Boxer, guilty of a hold. So second power play of the period for the Cobbers. Who already have 7 shots on goal, the majority of them coming on that man advantage earlier. This period's only 6 in the first period, so they took advantage of that power play with some looks. So we've got some equipment strewn on the ice. They've got that cleaned up. So Boxer to the box. 7th penalty, tied for the team lead with Pollock. The Ole's the least penalized team in the MIAC, but they had 3 last night and already 2 in the first half of this game, which is above their average. Face-off available. Leahy doing his best to keep it out of a Cobbers possession, and he did just that. The Ole's push it to center. Dumped back in by Johnson as the top power play out there for the visitors. Bouncing back to Hargindegi, one-timer Stoner, and he almost missed it. That'll allow Leahy to fling it all the way down. St. Olaf will change as Stoner deflects it up and into their bench for a stoppage. So 10:36 to go. We're about midway through this game. Glad you're with us on this Saturday in January as it's hockey season. Josh Powers alongside our crew. 3 big points on the line after last night's 1-point result for St. Olaf. The Cobbers winning it in overtime. 1 point ahead in the Oles in the standings. In 4th place, the Oles in a 3-way tie for 5th. They would love a 3-point result, and they have the lead once again, thanks to the rebound goal from Tony Leahy earlier in this period. And right now, the top power play unit yet to generate a shot on goal as we're nearly midway through the man advantage. They'll probably have to come off soon. Nice interception by Kemp. Well, he could have threaded it ahead to McElroy. Instead, dumped it down, the safe play. Both teams will change. Triggs will stay out there for now. I imagine he'll drift to the bench when he can. To the back wall, Triggs pokes at it. Over there is Hard. Back to Triggs. Back to the point for Hansen. Triggs had to go over his stick. 35 to go in the power play. Triggs has been out there the whole time. Swatting it around. Leahy kept alive though. Hargindegi also still out there as he sends one in front. Deflected and the rebound pushed wide. 20 to go in the penalty. Hard to Hansen at the circle. Stick disrupted by McNaughton. Thrown toward the net, easily dealt with by Mullen. Lervik will push it back to him with 8 seconds left in the power play, and finally Triggs and Hargindegi can head to the bench. .9:18 left second period. 8 left in the penalty. Face-off won by the visitors. It's Plant. Ricocheted one off Ludke in front. Scooped up by Danaski. He had it poked away by Hayes as the penalty to Boxer is over. Tracking it down, Willie Johnson. He'll pivot and off the wall to center. Plant is there over to Halliday. D to D. He'll go cross corner. Jensen swats at it. Along the wall, held by Concordia. Ludke. Attacked there by Benson. Ludke trying to spin away from him and does. Saucers it back to the point for Halliday toward the net and gathered easily with no screen by Matthew Mullen. Making his 14th save, perfect so far for the sophomore from Castle Rock. Just outside Denver, looking for win number 3 on the season. It's been pretty much a split as the season has gone on. Each goaltender worthy of getting game action and each one getting a game on either Friday or Saturday each weekend. Mullen and Ryan Nolan. Meanwhile, Olsenowski getting the start again in both games. Lifted, Leahy trying to negate the icing and does. Good hustle. Poked to the corner by Hofer. The Oles hold at the line with Gunnar Johnson. Lucia this time trying to exit the zone, and he will get it to neutral, but there is Bjorn Lervik. He'll double back and send it over to Gunnar Johnson. Rink wide, Leahy latches on at the line. Hit there by Lucia, but he pushes it to the corner for Green. Green with a nice move. Green looking from behind the net. Out front to Lervik with the catch and the fire, and it was deflected wide by Kennelly. And lifted high off the wall and just getting the icing. Gordy did not like that call, but as we said last night, it's a race to the dot, not the line, and Lervik was definitely behind the Concordia player Nestler there in position for the icing. In my opinion, the Concordia bench disagreed, but as we talked about last night, calls don't always, somebody's going to be upset on a lot of calls. Face off to Concordia, who's wanting a penalty here, but that just looked like two players going for the puck and they just collided with each other. No one really had an advantage either way. Dropping it down low toward Erickson are the Oles. Pops out to Smutney. They'll send it back down low. As it caroms off the back wall, Erickson looking for options, finds Boxer. Kept it alive as he goes cross corner to space. Cleared to neutral, Gunner on the retreat. Back to Erickson. And Boxer will gain the red, slips it to Carl Erickson, and caught on the line drive wrist shot by Olsenowski. Carl Erickson looking for his second goal of the season right there, the freshman from Okemos, Michigan. 7:01 to go. The Oilers at 20 shots on goal already, on pace for well over 30. After I believe they only had 20 shots total last night, including overtime. As we said, much better play in this game for St. Olaf, but only leading by one. They were leading by one at this point last night. Concordia tied it late in the second period. Pushing it ahead, Benson Hayes got a piece of it and gathers it at neutral and dumps it in. Stoner over for Skyme. Hunter Hayes prevents the first breakout attempt. Stoner will send it around the other side for O'Brien. Got it past Panisa. And Stoner will gain the red and lift it in. Centering pass. Hunter Hayes in position there to scoop it up. Gathered at the point by Halliday. Trying to work around Panisa. Back for Triggs. Behind the net, Caden Triggs. Watched there by Connor Jensen. He'll drop it on the cycle for Hargindegi. Working around Hayes. Hargindegi looking out front. Pass was blocked by Hayes. Picked up by Triggs. Some rare zone time for this top line in this period, but it comes to an end as it drifts back through center. Stretch pass ahead, denied by Benson on the secondary pass. And Connor Jensen, for safety, just dropped it off, not wanting to put too much pace. Mullen saw it. And 5:31 left in the period. Coming up at the break, we'll have our third and final player interview with yet another freshman for the Oilies, Connor Jensen. Speaking of Connor. We'll also talk more standings if you missed it in the first intermission, and we'll get you ready for the third period with the second period stat summary. Coming up at intermission, 5 minutes and change away. And yet another whistle in a heavily whistled game. Not in terms of penalties, just a lot of icings, a lot of draws, pucks going out of play, much more than usual. It said we had 25 face-offs in the first period, and wouldn't be surprised if we had a similar number here in the second. Concordia having the O-zone chance here. And they win the draw back to Hofer. His wrist shot hit McElroy in the back and caroms to the corner for McNaughton. He'll lift it off the glass, looking for Pana Ephraimides, who squeezes that puck along the wall and delivers it to the corner. Big hit there by McNaughton on the forecheck, joined by Ephraimides. McNaughton tries to wrap it around. He scores! Connor McNaughton working hard on the forecheck. And he's got himself his fifth goal for the freshman this season. That play typifies the effort that we've seen today for St. Olaf compared to last night. Exactly what Tyler Lindstrom talked about in the pregame, and that message was delivered and is being followed today by St. Olaf. Back come the Cobbers, 2-on-2, Ian Ness. Shot deflected by Gunnar Johnson. So now the Oilies, the challenge, can they finish this game? Coach Lindstrom talked about that consistency. They've been good enough at times, but he said they've been in a lot of games, but they haven't played like they've been in position to win a lot of games, especially in the second half. Again, one a record of 1 win, 2 losses, and 3 ties in the second half so far for St. Olaf. So trying to finish this one off with a good end to the second period and a strong third. Green pushes it ahead on the backhand. And Leahy deposits it in to Concordia territory. Brady O'Brien unable to maintain control and lassoed back in by Connor Jensen. The Olis, in contrast to last night, they have been the ones controlling neutral ice. Here's a turnover. Leahy to Willie Johnson. He scores! Another turnover created by Tony Leahy, and Willie Johnson with a twisted wrister, third of his freshman season. Under 4 to go in the period. Game has just changed drastically in the last minute. Going from a 1-goal lead to 3, and now looking for more. Back on the ice, Willie Johnson. He delivers a hit. Hunter Hayes drags it loose. Shot from the wall right on, fought off by Olsenowski on his 20th save of the game. Lifted ahead, Smutny is there, and it's back into Concordia territory. Big hit delivered over there by Simon Pollock. Loves to throw his weight around. It's probably why he's tied for the team lead in penalties, Pollock, but there's another big hit delivered. Mullen watches that coast wide as Cam Benson kicks it right over to a teammate who is Kempf. And Concordia offside with 2:49 left in the second. Shots this period are actually in favor of Concordia. 11-8. But as I mentioned, I think either 5 or 6 of them came on that first power play. Concordia's had 2 power plays in the period to St. Olaf's 0. And so 5-on-5, the Olis have continued to control much of the play here in this game. Benson tracks it down at center. D to Lervik. And McNaughton directs it in. Should be another icing call here as Hofer just gets rid of it. Now with 2:20 to go in the second period. And with 3 points, if the Oilers can hang on in regulation, they would get the majority of the points for the weekend, and that's what you're looking for each and every time out. Another kick save from Olsenowski off a face-off win. Stretching it out ahead. Boxer does a nice job to keep it away from Caden Triggs. And now Green with Leahy 2-on-2. Green's shot misses wide, was deflected. Gets it back from Leahy. Leahy pokes it away. Back to Gunner. Around Jensen. He'll send it to the back wall. More zone time for this Green-Leahy line has just been terrific this afternoon. A bouncer at center. Caden Triggs. Kept away from the puck. Good work defensively by the freshman Connor Jensen, who we'll hear from in his player interview coming up in about 90 seconds. Plays like that will help gain him some more ice time as the season goes on. Cobbers had maybe a chance on the rush 3-on-2. Instead, they send it to the corner. Blake Johnson is there. O'Brien, he'll wrist one and miss the net wide. Picked up by Willie Johnson. Final minute of the period. Jensen swings and misses. Blake Johnson had it poked away. O'Brien keeps it on the perimeter. Matthew Hard trying to maneuver out front. As they battle for it between the circles, it's sent to the near corner. And lifted through center by Willie Johnson. Approaching half a minute left in the period. The Oilers will change one more time. Johnson did not get a piece of that on the way in, so icing with 30.1 to go in the period. And a chance here for Erickson on the Ozone faceoff, as the Coppers could not change there. McNaughton emerges from the corner, out to Monroe. His wrister hit Erickson in front, as the Coppers play it all the way down. And not far enough for icing with 15 to go in the period. See if the Oilers are interested in a final rush. They'll give it a go up for McNaughton, too far for him. Kempf avoids the offside, and Monroe at the horn. Ooh, that was a little trickier than maybe it needed to be. Janaski was kind of screening Olsenowski for some reason, but kind of looked like it handcuffed him, but he did make the save. 3-0, end of two. What a period for the Oilers, scoring twice late in the period to take a healthy lead into period number three. And we talked about it a little bit, but their only win of the second half, that 9-1 dominant performance that they had against Hamlin a couple weeks back. This game looks like that one from a control standpoint. Obviously not the same number of goals yet in that one, but the Oilers playing one of their better games, especially in the second half. Maybe their best game so far, given the opponent. Take a look around the MIAC. Again, games last night. Hamlin and Augsburg, a 2-2 tie. Bethel, 5-3 victory. And then on Thursday, St. Mary's and St. John's, a 2-2 tie. And those three teams will all meet again later tonight. Hamlin and Augsburg at 5, and then at 7, Scholastica hosts Bethel, and St. John's hosts St. Mary's. The upcoming schedule. Again, the women, they will drop in about 40 minutes. Good luck to the women. They go for the sweep up in Moorhead after last night's nail-biting 1-0 win. Molly Terabeza providing the game winner in the third period. She has been red hot lately, 5 goals in her last 6 games. So hopefully that line can connect and provide maybe let's get more than 1 goal this afternoon, but good luck to the women. They will drop in about 40 minutes. Excited to watch that one later on in my evening. 3-0 here. Let's get to our third and final player interview. Catching up with some more of the freshmen here. We've got one more freshman to interview. Hopefully I can do that next week. But this third player from the Pacific Northwest. Here's my player interview with number 23, Connor Jensen.
We're with Connor Jensen. Connor, appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here.
Walk us through your hockey journey, Connor. When did you start playing the game growing up in the Pacific Northwest? When did you figure, hey, I'm pretty good at this thing, and college hockey was an option for you?
Yeah, so I'm from Spokane, Washington. We got the WHL team, the Spokane Chiefs there. I got 2 older brothers, so they just kind of got into hockey, and I kind of followed, being the youngest, and kind of played until I was 14 in Spokane, then went a couple hours away to Central Washington and Wenatchee. Played there for 4 years, went to Colorado for a year, played up in Canada for 3 years of juniors, and now at St. Olaf. Couldn't be happier.
What is the hockey scene like in the state of Washington? Obviously, you have the Kraken now. Has that helped grow the game a little bit? What does that look like compared? Obviously, Minnesota, you have all the high schools. Everybody's playing hockey, but it's not that way in every part of the country.
Right. That's one of the reasons I wanted to come play hockey in Minnesota was just, it's the hockey state, and it's not too much like that in Washington where I'm from. And yeah, you got the Kraken. Obviously, that's my team now. But yeah, that kind of helped grow, I think, a bit, and just kind of helped people see that, there can be hockey in Washington. And yeah, I think Seattle kind of has a junior Kraken team now starting there. So yeah, it's been good.
How did St. Olaf come up on the radar? Had you ever heard of St. Olaf College living in Washington? When did you first think that this was a possibility, and what were some of those reasons besides it being in the state of Minnesota that you're here right now?
I haven't heard of St. Olaf before I came here and heard about it. Like you said, I won't say that Minnesota was one of the deciding factors, but really it came down to Tyler Lindstrom, our head coach. He ended up playing in Winkler for some of his juniors, so he kind of had a connection there. And yeah, I came to visit. All the boys seemed absolutely amazing, and just kind of fell in love here. And when I came to visit, it felt like home. So that was kind of the deciding factor.
What are some of your favorite spots on campus so far, or some of the places that you've enjoyed? Everybody seems to love the campus, especially in the fall, but what are some of those spots and places that you enjoy so far?
Obviously, I like down at the hockey houses, just being with the boys down there and hanging out. I like the dorms. Don't have any problems with those. I got some hockey boys. That makes it a little easier, and living with a teammate.
Nice.
I like the common area. We hang out there a lot. All the classrooms and buildings seem great. I got, nothing really else to say. It's all good.
What about academics, Connor? Have you thought about a major? Are there still some choices? Walk us through what that looks like here as you're through one semester of college so far.
I'll be honest. School's a bit of a struggle, especially being out of school for 3 years up in Canada and playing juniors. So it's been a process to try and get the mind and body back to the school shape that it needs to be at. I was in econ this first semester. Kind of thinking about switching to kinesiology. I think that might be more beneficial for my future. But yeah, still just kind of playing it by ear, seeing how it goes this next semester, and try and finish out my freshman year strong, and come back for the sophomore year.
Last question for you, did you have a favorite class in the first semester? And then second part, was there a hardest final that you had in that first half as well?
My best class was probably my first year writing class. I kind of met some teammates in that class, and kind of started to grow friendships that way, which is kind of nice to have other people that aren't your teammates and around 24/7 to kind of be hanging out with and stuff and be buddies with. The hardest final I had was probably the econ. Just a lot of the concepts were hard to grasp and that kind of stuff. So it was a struggle, but we made it through and pushing on.
Nice. Well, you're off the hook here. Thanks for doing your first interview, and hopefully get a big win today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Connor Jensen, thanks to Connor and Eli Miller, as well as Cody Kemp for the player interviews today. We'll have more player interviews next Friday. We're hoping to get to all the guys at some point this season. So if you haven't heard from your favorite Ole yet, hopefully they are coming up the final 4 weekends. Josh Powers alongside our crew, 3-0 St. Olaf. Looking for win number 8, and more importantly, their 4th MIAC win. Let's take a look at the updated MIAC standings through last night, as Bethel earned all 3 points with last night's win, jumping up and tying Gustavus at the top of the conference with 16 points. The Gusties idle this week. Look at them. They've won 9 games in a row. What a streak. Similar to last year. St. John's, they'll be in action later on. They were idle last night at 14 points. They only have one loss in conference, so they have games in hand, much like the Olies do. You can see both have only played 7 games, the Olies and the Johnnies. They'll play number 8 as well as St. Olaf, but those two teams have games in hand. You see Concordia has played 9. Gustavus has also played 8. This is Bethel will play later. They'll have their 8th game as well. So the Johnnies a chance to move back up. We'll see what Bethel does later tonight as well. The Cobbers with 2 last night. They're at 13. 4 wins in a row, by the way, for Concordia. That may come to an end here in about 45 minutes or so, but right now in 4th, but you see the Oldies with 3 points. They would vault into solo 3rd for the time being. Right now in a 3-way tie with St. Mary's and Hamlin. And then you've got Augsburg and Scholastica, both also in action later in this one. Scholastica in badly in need of a win. Augsburg, yes, they're in 8th, but you can see they're only 3 points out of that 3-way tie for 5th. So not looking great for Scholastica, kind of looking like 8 teams for those 5 spots right now. But if a team can get on a winning streak in the last 4 weekends, those 3 points can vault you up the standings in a hurry. And again, the last 4 opponents for St. Olaf, they will still face Augsburg and Scholastica. So the bottom 2 teams in the league are on the Oli's schedule. As is Bethel, though, so they still have to face a team tied for the lead in the conference, and then St. Mary's, the final opponent. So a favorable schedule the rest of the way for the Olis, especially if they can get 3 big points this weekend. Good luck to men's basketball currently in progress, tied at 28. And good luck to the women. They will drop in about a half hour now up in Moorhead. Concordia will have their stream as they did last night. We will take a short break. When we come back, we'll run down the second period stats and get you ready for period number 3 as the Olis lead by 3 on the MIAC Sports Network and the St. Olaf Broadcast Network. All right, we are back. Josh Powers alongside our crew. Almost ready for the third period. Let's run down the second period stats. A little bit more even on the stat sheet than the first period, but not on the scoreboard. The Oilers get 2. Connor McNaughton. All 3, excuse me, what am I thinking? All 3 goals were scored in the second period by the Oilers. Tony Leahy, second of the season. From Gunnar Johnson, team leading 9th of the season, and they did add a second assist. There you go, Connor Jensen with his 3rd assist of the season at 7:04. And then Connor McNaughton, his 5th of the year from Pana Ephraimides. And then rounding up the scoring less than a minute later, Willie Johnson, 3rd of the season from Leahy, now up to 6 assists. Shots in the period were 12-9 in favor of Concordia, but they had 8 shots on goal of the 12, as we talked about a couple times in that period. 8 of the 12 came on 2 power plays where they did not score. So the rest of the period, just 4 shots on goal after just 6 shots on goal in the first period, where they did not have a power play as well. So it's a little deceiving when you add in that context. The Oilers did not have a power play in the second period. Saves in the period. Noel Osanowski, 6, 2-period total of 20. Matt Mullen, 12, 2-period total of 18. The Oilers continue to have a face-off advantage, 29-23 now through 2 periods. Similar to last night. And the shot chart, both teams attempted 19 shots. The Cobbers blocked 6 of them, the Oilers blocked 2. So the Cobbers have already blocked 13 shots in this game out of the 48 attempts for the Oilers. St. Olaf's blocked just 2. 4 missed the net for the Cobbers. 1, remember, did hit the post. 12 on net, all 12 stopped by Matt Mullen. Meanwhile, the Oilers, they missed the net just 3 times after missing the net 6 times in the first period. The Oilers also hit a crossbar. 3 pipes hit in this game for St. Olaf in addition to their 3 goals. 9 on net and 6 saved by Noel Osanowski. So your second period stat summary. Ready for period number 3. We'll see if the Oilers can close this one out strong in the final 20 minutes, or will the visitors have a push? Cam Benson encountered by a couple of Cobbers, but he gets rid of it in time, and the Oilers have it at center. It's Leahy. He'll backhand it in. Tracked down by Lucia, but he couldn't clear the zone. Benson keeps it alive. Here's Leahy, swings, and that deflects to the corner for Benson. He was down in the corner. Nobody was home on the point, so the puck will drift all the way down. And I guess far enough for icing there, as Evan Smutney tosses it to the referee. Both teams making their first change here. Face off. Out to Jensen. To the corner for Hayes. Spins away from Lucia. Willie Johnson. Got it into the corner. And the Cobbers now back at center. Ludke hit from behind, and a penalty coming on Willie Johnson. That's what you don't want to do with a 3-goal lead. A freshman error there from Willie Johnson. Just his second penalty of the season. I think this one will just be a 2-minute. And it is 2 minutes, as you see on our scoreboard, synced up with the in-house scoreboard here at St. Olaf Ice Arena. Face-off won by the Cobbers. They have their second power play out there right now. 0 for 2 with 8 shots on goal. So they've been active on these man advantages here, unlike last night where they were pretty quiet on their power plays. Here's Hansen with another drive right on. Stick saved by Mullen, and the rebound dangerously between the circles. Back to Hansen. Another one triggered. Deflected wide this time by Donaski. Chance to clear for McNaughton, but nicely rotating over is Halliday for the visitors. Donaski to the corner for Kennett. Here's Halliday. Pushed down by the Oles. McElroy. Here's a line drive, and that one may have drawn iron. I couldn't quite tell, or the top of the glove of Mullen. It was Matthew Hard, the senior from Warroad, with the wrist shot there. So more activity on the man advantage for the Cobbers. And they will change to get that number one power play out with the trio of top line forwards. Face off won by Hargindegi. Skyme. Back up top, Stoner. Saucers it across, and now Skyme at the circle. Tried to drop it down to Triggs, and he does. Who has it behind the net? Hargindegi with a blast. Hit Johnson in front, and Kemp, chance to clear, does get it to center. Stoner back into Johnson. 45 to go in the power play. Benson will try to clear one and gets it past Stoner to center. Errant pass there from Hargindegi, and now the power play clock under 30 seconds. Both teams have been good on the penalty kill this weekend. No power play goals. Johnson from a bad angle, couldn't get it out front, taken there by Smutney, and he will chip it the length of the ice. McElroy trying to beat Olszanowski to the puck, and he got shoved into the wall. And a penalty. That was bizarre. Olszanowski just looked like he was kind of casually skating over to it. McElroy got there at the same time he did. That nearly could have been a shorthanded goal for the Oles. And a penalty is the result. And I think it is on Concordia. So what was left of the power play, only 6 seconds, will come to an end. And I believe this penalty is on Olszanowski, who obviously can't serve the penalty. Somebody else will. And Colton Nessler, the freshman from Fargo, will serve the penalty. So the Oles will have their third power play of the game here in a couple seconds. Looking for a better power play than the first, only 2 shots on goal on the earlier man advantages back in the first period. Olszanowski, though, may have prevented a goal by committing that penalty. McElroy had a chance to get it around him, and the net was wide open at that point. Green, 30 seconds into the man advantage to Jensen, and around to Kennelly, to the circle back for Green. Down low, Willie Johnson back to Green. Jensen, again back to Green. To the far circle, Kennelly. Tyler Green, located it just in time to keep it alive to Jensen. Kennelly into the middle for Willie Johnson. Decided to pass it to Kemp, and it was a little off target. But a nice keep in there initially by Jensen, and now sent all the way down as both teams change. Goal here for the Oles, you figure would pretty much put this one away if they can get their first power play goal of the weekend. Mick Naughton dropped off to Hayes. Panisa spins at the circle, got it in front, and missing the net from close in was Leahy. Good look there for Tony Leahy on the power play. Leahy will backhand it around with 15 to go in the penalty. Hayes back to Panisa. Dangerous pass, and there goes Caden Triggs. Like a pick six, he's in alone and scores. The 6th shorthanded goal of the season for Concordia. And a goal to get them right back in this game, down 2 now. Third shorthanded goal of the season for Triggs. I wouldn't be surprised if that is top in the country in Division III for the senior local from Moorhead. So what a reversal there. As the lead is 2, and they'll probably put a few seconds back on the clock. They put 6 more on there to up to 15:03. Simon Pollock talking to one of the officials, but if you watch that, you did see some time come off after that goal. So Concordia on the comeback trail and still 15 minutes left. Pana Ephraimides, 1-on-3, waiting for help. Down low for Pollock. He's tried to center it out front. Benson keeping it alive.
Concordia College goal scored by number 28, Caden Trigg.
And here's Nestler from outside the circle, caught and held by Matthew Mullen. As we remind you for a final time, Alina Health is a proud partner of St. Olaf College, providing their sports medicine services to Ole student athletes. Their specialists help ensure your Oles are in peak condition and ready to play at their highest potential. So let them partner with you to unlock your limitless potential. Visit them online at alinahealth.org to find a clinic near you. Shots now are 23-22 in favor of the Oles. Stoner had his shot ricochet off of a St. Olaf player. On the forecheck, Blake Johnson wins a puck battle. Working on Tyler Green. Gets past him, but denied there by Smutney, who plays it around for Kennelly. How long will the puck stay there? And that finally comes free. Stick save from Mullen on a drive from the point. Matt Munro gets it to the line, kept in by Stoner. Jack Hansen unable to get to that puck. Kennelly waits and finds an open Connor Jensen, who gains the red and the blue, and he'll lift it in. Lowly's get a much-needed change in there. Willie Johnson disrupts on the forecheck. Tried to poke it out for Hayes and just couldn't quite get the angle on it. Here's Boxer. Panisa winds and fires, and it's deflected up and out of play. .17 to go. Ended up being a pretty fair crowd again. Not quite the crowd we had last night. That's expected here on a Saturday matinee. But the Oles looking for a 3-point result and a 4-point weekend. But still a bunch of time left, and we know that Concordia top line can strike quickly. They have all 4 goals for the Cobbers this weekend. Battling for it, Panisa scores! It's the 37th goal for Jonathan Panisa in his career, as he is entangled at the bottom of that pile somewhere. But the lead back to 3, a huge goal, just 2 minutes after Concordia scored shorthanded. 7th of the season, team lead in goals for Panisa. And again, just a hard-working goal there in front. Started by Willie Johnson on the forecheck. And it eventually puck came right to Panisa. Lifted it over Olsenowski for the goal.
St. Olaf College goal scored by number 8, Jonathan Panisa, assisted by number 18, Willie Johnson, and number 13.
Willie Johnson having a nice weekend, picking up another point on that assist. So we'll see if there's one more response for the Cobbers. Tucker Skyme entering St. Olaf territory. Here's Triggs. Hit into the wall, but Hargindegi has it. Kept alive at the point by Lucia. Triggs. Hit into the wall by Erickson. Skyme over to Triggs. Sends it back up top. Hargindegi. That hit the skate of Erickson, picked up by Boxer, and they're able to get it out of there. Although it'll be icing as Pollock wasn't quite to the red. Clock will stop at 12:07 as we will remind you for a final time tonight, BSN Sports is the industry leader in team equipment and apparel, equipping over 1,000 collegiate programs across the country. Their mission is to support the unsung heroes that help student-athletes succeed, all the parents, teachers, coaches, and administrators that are truly the heart of the game. You can learn more at bsnsports.com. Josh Powers alongside our crew. Nearing the 2-hour mark of this game with still 12:07 left. That kind of speaks to the number of face-offs that we've had. Over 50 of them just in the first 2 periods alone. And this draw won by Concordia. Stoner collects it and fires and misses wide. O'Brien at the circle. Pad save Mullen. Rebound! Snared by Mullen. Good look there from Colton Nessler. From the circle, but Matthew Mullen playing another strong game. The only goal given up was on that shorthanded breakaway. Now up to 24 saves on the afternoon. As Concordia will win another draw, Benson has a little bit of space to operate, gets it over to Ephraimides. He's hemmed in there, so Benson will try the other side. And ahead to Ephraimides at center. Kalijah McElroy behind Benson on the little touch pass as the Oles fling it back in. Stoner swats it back to center. McNaughton to Connor Jensen and ahead. This should be icing though, as Ephraimides was behind O'Brien. That might be a penalty. It is. Just unnecessary there from Ephraimides. Right as the whistle was sounding, and now Concordia will go back on the man advantage. Uncharacteristic this afternoon. Now they took 3 penalties last night. This will be their 4th power play chance for the visitors. Again, the Oles coming into the weekend the least penalized team in the MIAC. So the Cobbers scoreless on the power play so far this weekend. They do have another shorthanded goal. They have almost as many shorthanded goals as power play goals this season. Could this be a shorty for the Oles? It's Erickson in alone, and he's stopped by Olsenowski. Stoner sends it around. That is a crazy stat. 7 power play goals on the season for Concordia, 6 shorthanded. Hard to believe. Here's Blake Johnson. Hargindegi smothered on the block shot by Erickson and sent all the way down. Top power play will stay out there for Concordia. The Oles change. Skyme to Stoner. Hargindegi approaching the circle. Back to Skyme. Over for Stoner. He'll trigger and blocked by Benson. The Oles only blocked 2 shots in the first 2 periods, but doing a nice job on this PK. And it might lead to a clear here from Connor Jensen. It will. High off the glass and all the way down. And the Cobbers change as we're midway through the 3rd. It's Matthew Hard. Hops around to check. Then Smutney misses him, although Evan pokes it away. And it's gathered by Kennett at the point. Halliday back to Kennett. Actually, it was not Kennett. Hard gets it down low. Kennett is now battling for it, along with Danaski, being roughed up by Lervik and Smutney. Final 10 of the man advantage, as the Cobbers are now 0 for 7 on the weekend on the power play. Hard sends one off the face mask of Mullen with the rebound still loose. That one blocked from the circle. Hard triggers, and it misses wide, and Hansen on the rebound as well. And now held by Mullen with 9:01 to play in the third period. Cobbers are probably going to end up out shooting St. Olaf in this game. But if you just looked at the shots on goal, it would be deceiving. The Oles have controlled the majority of this play. A little bit more balanced here in the third, but first two periods very strong for the Oles. Panisa lurking ahead. Will chase it down in the corner. Willie Johnson unable to collect it. That gets by Hayes. Here's Ludke for the visitors, rubbed out on a check by Jack Boxer. Johnson pitchforks it. Caught and dropped by Panisa. He scores! Another Jonathan Panisa snipe. A 2-goal afternoon, now up to 38 on his career. And 5-1 can pretty much put this one on ice with a full 3 points for the Oles. And if they do, it will be 4 points for the weekend, a majority of the 6.
12 goals scored by number 8, Jonathan Panisa, assisted by number 9, Joey Canelli, and 11.
Canelli with the, actually I think they're going to change that to Willie Johnson, I believe, had that pass. So another point for Willie, if I saw that one correctly. Here's Triggs. Another one for Caden Triggs, and maybe I spoke too soon. Concordia back within 3. 9th of the season for Caden Triggs. And all 5 goals this weekend for the Cobbers scored by those 3 forwards. Might be the best line in the MIAC. Haven't seen all the teams yet, but they have been deadly this weekend.
Concordia goal scored by number 28, Caden Triggs, assisted by number 11, Tucker Skime.
Skime with yet another assist.
At 11:53. Triggs from Skime and Stoner at 11:53 in the third period.
So still 8 minutes left. 4 goals in this period. 2 for each team in the first 12 minutes. If you had told me before the start of the third that Concordia would score twice in the first 12 minutes, I'd be a little bit worried. But thankfully the Oles have countered with 2 goals of their own, both from Panisa. Both Cobber goals from Triggs. Blake Johnson trying to get it out front, denied there by Benson and Erickson. And it's Carl Erickson breaking free from the pile. Slides it toward the Ole bench and played back in by Halliday. Cobbers wanting a tripping call there on Hargindegi, but don't get it. The Oles get it to center with 7 minutes to go. Lervik retreats forward in his own zone. Deflected by Kemp, but again, this will be icing as he was in front of the red line with 6:51 to go. Good luck to the women's team about to drop up in Moorhead in about 3 minutes. The Ole's going for the sweep up there. Would be huge if they could get all 6 points. Good luck to the women currently in 4th place. The Cobbers currently in 4th right now, but the Ole's less than 7 minutes away from leapfrogging them in the standings. Hofer slides it in toward the back wall. Caroms off of Lervik's stick, and there's Triggs to Lucia from deep, looking for a rebound, and it doesn't happen because it's covered by Mullen. Now up to 27 saves on the afternoon. Again, our schedule next weekend, we'll have men's coverage Friday night at 7 against the Augies, and then the men will get their turn. Or, excuse me, the women will get their turn against the Augies. That'll be Saturday at 4. Next Saturday afternoon, the women's team back for the first time in a couple weeks. Behind the net, Zach Cannon. Denied on the wraparound. Concordia giving a final push here in the last couple minutes since that Triggs goal. Spent a lot of it in the St. Olaf end, looking to cut it to 2, and then that would get a little bit more interesting from there. Leahy trying to bully his way to center and gets maybe a little help with Panisa and Smutney to get it there. Jackson Lucia plays it in. Smutney first to get there for the Ole's. Jensen to the line but not out. McNaughton to Leahy. Never did leave the zone as it's poked back toward the corner with 5:18 to go. O'Brien to Triggs. Hargindagi. Line drive shot fought off by Mullen. O'Brien holds again. To Triggs. Over for Skyme, but poked to the corner by Smutney. Skyme to Stoner. His line drive caught and held by Mullen with 5 minutes left. So some more chances for that lethal line for Concordia. Cobbers up to 30 shots now for the game. Timeout taken here by, I believe, St. Olaf. Nope, Concordia takes the timeout. They might be thinking about pulling Olsenowski here down 3. If you're going to do it, you want to do it early. We will see what Coach Olim does after the timeout. St. Olaf still has their timeout available. Quick check on the men's basketball score. They are in front right now, looking for their 12th win in a row, 54-46. Midway through the second half there. That's just down the hall here at the Skoglund Center. So hopefully men's basketball can hang on to that one, having a bounce back season this year. Women's basketball falling earlier today to Hamlin. A tough one there. In about an hour, Hamlin and Augsburg men's hockey, they will drop at the Trier Rink in St. Paul. And then at 7 o'clock, Bethel and Scholastica and St. Mary's and St. John's. I'll probably have some of those games going on in the background in my basement, along with some other sports going on here on this busy Saturday. Top line stays out there. That's probably why the timeout, and also, as I predicted, the net empty for Concordia. So going for broke here, down 3. 6 on 5. And it's Skyme at the top of the zone. Stoner one-timer. Would have missed wide. I think getting a piece of it there was Mullen, just to make sure. Hargindegi. Ludke joining the top line group as the extra skater, as the Oles will ice it. As down to 4:16 left. Again, I like this strategy. It doesn't matter if you lose by 3 or 4 or whatever. So I like this strategy from Kirk Olam. Going 6 on 5 early. St. Olaf will take its timeout with 4:15 left. So the Cobbers, again, this timeout will probably, the Cobbers are probably thinking about maybe a change following their timeout. Now they'll probably be able to stay out there for a little bit longer than they would have normally after this St. Olaf timeout with 4:15 to go. So this one not done yet, despite what I said after the second Panisa goal. Josh Powers alongside our crew, a much better performance from St. Olaf than last night, as Coach Lindstrom was not happy, and he shared some of those thoughts in the pregame interview. The Oles have responded. 3 goals in the second after a dominating first period where they hit 2 pipes. And then here in the third, both teams have scored twice, including a shorthanded goal from Caden Triggs. But Jonathan Panisa has both goals in this period for St. Olaf, his first 2 of the weekend. And the Oles 4 minutes and 15 seconds away from vaulting up the standings. That would move them 3 points ahead of both Concordia and St. John's. Break free of that tie with Hamlin and St. Mary's. Of course, many of those teams in action later tonight, but they'd be only 1 point behind first place Bethel and Gustavus. Bethel plays later tonight, Gustavus idle, but still a little bit more work to do, and still 6 on 5 with the empty net. Skyme lifts it in. Gunnar Johnson gets rid of it quickly. Skyme holds. Over to Stoner. Skyme to Hargindegi. And that hit traffic in front, up and out of play. And for Concordia, although they may be comfortable now in 4th, remember they still have an idle weekend. That's next weekend. They will be idle. They have just 6 games left in MIAC play. So only 6 more chances after this one. It is going to come down to the final weekend for a lot of these teams. Great keep-in by Skyme, or that probably was an empty net goal. He took the risk and it paid off. Stoner gloves and drops. Hargindegi over to Triggs, looking for the hat trick. Fought off on a blocker save by Matthew Mullen. Triggs upended. Players calling for a penalty. Officials disagree, and they do get the icing, though, as Skyme looked like he gave the best effort possible without giving the best effort possible, if that makes sense. But icing probably the right call there, and the top line does go off for the moment for Concordia. Still 6 on 5. Face off. Not sure who won that one. It ends up in the glove of Matthew Mullen anyway, and they'll take another one in the offensive zone of Concordia. The Cobbers pulled the goalie with about 5 minutes left, so nearing 2 minutes of 6 on 5 so far. With not really a great chance so far, a grade A one yet. Goalie's trying to keep it that way. Monroe looks over his shoulder. Puck still down there in the corner and not in position. Halliday at the blue line, so he has to retreat behind his own net with 3 minutes left. Jackson Lucia intercepted by Green, and then he had it poked away just as he was delivering a pass to Kennelly, who would have had a wide open net. Stretch pass. They say they got a piece of it. Did Zach Kennett, so no icing. Hansen to Kennett, and around for Halliday. 2.5 minutes to go. Still an empty net for Concordia. As that pass escapes the point, and the top line for the Cobbers hops over the wall. They're back out there. Hargindegi over to Skyme. And we have a whistle and a penalty on the Olies. So this got a little bit more interesting with still 2:12 to play. As I'm assuming Concordia will keep the net empty and will be 6-on-4 now. Cody Kempf, guilty of the penalty. That is his first collegiate penalty. How about that? This is not a guy who is barely in there. This is his 14th appearance in 16 games. So, first penalty of the year. So 6-on-4 for the Cobbers. Face-off won by Hargindegi. Ludke at the circle. Skyme and Stoner playing catch. Caught by Smutny as he kicks it to the half wall. Skyme keeps it alive down low for Triggs, watched by Smutny. 1:50 left. Skyme across. Hargindegi's shot hit the skate of Boxer in front. Ludke behind the net to Stoner. Across for Skyme, and now Hargindegi will fire, and it's blocked by McElroy and cleared by the Olies. As we're under 90 to go. They have done a great job, St. Olaf, in the last 3.5 minutes with the empty net, not allowing very good chances for Concordia. They've had the puck in the zone a lot. Skyme loses his edge there. Here's Kennett behind the net. Hargindegi across for Skyme, and it failed to connect. Boxer had it poked away by Kennett, but Benson has it with 1 minute to go. McElroy tried to clear it, hit a skate. Here's Stoner. Skyme from deep. It ricocheted off a player in front, but missed high over the bar. Skyme again, toe drag. Loose in front, and a save by Mullen, and then a whistle. Played with a high stick by Concordia. That'll bring the faceoff out of the Oli zone with just 44.5 seconds left. And even though Concordia playing 6-on-4, they're simply running out of time, needing still 3 goals somehow in this stretch. Lervik off the wall, no threat of icing, of course, with the Olis being shorthanded, so he sends it all the way down. Erickson trying to intercept. Gets it away from Kennett toward the open net. It'll miss wide, but again, no risk of doing that, being shorthanded as we're down now under 30 to go. Played by Mullen, who's about to pick up his 3rd win of the season. As the Olis kill off the penalty, and the Cobbers finish the weekend 0 for 8 on the power play. It's a 3-point win for St. Olaf as they bounce back. A 4-point weekend. They vault over the Cobbers. They vault over St. John's, and for the moment in 3rd place in the MIAC. So not a good game last night, but the Oilers were able to get a point out of it, and now the full 3, and they get 4 out of the 6 for the weekend. A good result that will keep them right in playoff position heading to the final 4 weeks of the season. Remember, the Oilies do play in MIAC play all 4 of those weeks. So still 8 more opportunities for St. Olaf, and meanwhile Concordia Just 2 points this weekend, and they are idle next week. They have just 6 games left on the season. A strong performance for St. Olaf, and hopefully one that they can continue that play next weekend, where Augsburg will be the opponent. We'll see the men back here on Friday night, a 7 o'clock start. We will take air at about 6:45. Again, our final this afternoon, St. Olaf 5, Concordia 2. For our entire St. Olaf student crew, this is Josh Powers saying so long from St. Olaf Ice Arena.